Okay, so I think everybody should be here now. So welcome to everybody. And again, thank you for joining us this evening for the Portobello Institute Open Evening. My name is Alan Whelan. I'm one of the tutors on the sports courses within the sports department of Portobello Institute. And I'm going to be your tour guide tonight, I suppose, for all things sports within Portobello Institute. I'm joined by my colleague, Joe Shaw. Jo is also a member of Portobello Institute, and she looks after admissions and has a lot of responsibilities of actually interacting with you guys as students outside of the courses with any issues you have regarding signing up, transitions out of Portobello Institute and so on as well. So I just want to give Jo a moment to introduce yourself as well and say hello.
Everyone, you're very, very welcome to our open evening this evening. I may have actually chatted to a few of you already. I recognise some names who have joined us this evening, so you're very welcome. Anyone who maybe this is their first time seeing Portobello, then you're also very, very welcome. And if you've got any questions throughout, just let us know. You can type it into the chat box. And any questions after this evening, if you would like more information on applying, my email address will come up. I'll also put it into the chat box so you have it throughout as well, and it'll come up at the end as well. So yeah, I will be very much in charge of helping you enroll. Any questions you might have on entry requirements or costs as well for the course, then I'll be the one that you'll be kind of point of contact. So yeah, I'll pass it back over to Alan, but you're very welcome, and any questions just pop it in the chat box or you can reach out to me after this evening. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Jo. Thanks a million for that. So again, just to reiterate what Jo said, any questions that you guys have at any stage, feel free to type them into the chat box. Feel free to turn on your microphone if you wish and ask a question directly. Or if there's people who want to ask questions at the end of the session, we'll have some time at the end of the session as well to go through it. So as I said, it's Portobello Institute's open evening. We're focusing here within this room on the sports department. What we're going to look at this evening is just discuss some of the different courses that Portobello run specifically within the sports department, what options you guys might have. Some of you might be know exactly what it is you want to do. Some of you might be a little bit unsure. You just know you want to follow a career somewhere within the sports department. So hopefully this evening we will go through a little bit of everything and you'll find something that really does kind of pique your interest and makes you want to come and study with Portobello Institute. So as it says on screen here, we have some of our main degrees. So we have the Bachelor of Science Sports Therapy, Bachelor of Arts Physical Education, a Bachelor of Science Sports Science and Performance Analysis, and a Bachelor of Science Sports Psychology, Coaching and Physical Education. So I suppose just to start off, to try and get an idea of who we have here in the room with us this evening, Jo is going to put a poll up on screen for you all to answer, and just to let us know which course of study that you're actually most interested in pursuing with Portobello Institute. So you should see come up on your screens any moment an option to choose which degree course it is that you are interested in. So you should see there's a little red dot should have appeared between polls. So you have chat, polls and people. So if you click on polls where that red dot is, and then you can click, choose one of the options that best suits you or that you're most interested in. Okay, I can see plenty of votes coming in. Sports therapy is the one that's out in front at the moment, which is not surprising. It is one that is very popular for students of Portobello. I'll just give people another moment or two. Again, anybody struggling to find where the poll is, I see we've had about 9 votes so far. So it's on the right-hand side of your screen, the white box, you'll see where there's a chat, polls and people. So if you click on polls and you'll have the options there and just click on the one that best interests you. Okay, fantastic. So we have a tie between physical education, so PE, people who are looking to go down the PE teaching route, and the sports therapy. And PE has just gone into the lead, 4 votes to 3 over therapy. So again, yeah, they are our 2 most popular courses. Physical education, when the PE teaching one is starting to become really popular. Sports therapy has always been one that's been popular over a long period of time. And then we have a couple of people here who are interested in the sports science and performance analysis, which is a really growing market at the moment within the world of elite sports. And then we have one down for sports psychology, coaching, and PE. So fantastic. We've got a good mix here, which is brilliant. So as I said, hopefully we'll go through a bit of information on each of these that will appeal to you. So again, poll number 2, short one here. So which format of learning is it that actually appeals to you at the moment? So are you looking to study, or are you actually looking to do the blended learning, distance learning study? As before, there will be the poll. Are you interested in blended or full-time? Okay, we have none. And blended is the one that is out in front. So we have 6 who are interested in blended, 3 interested in the full-time. So again, we have a nice little mix of different people here and types of courses and times towards study that they're looking to do. And then the final poll we have for the moment. So beyond your studies, what would you hope to do? So are you looking to go directly into career, pursue your career? Maybe you're already in a working environment and you're looking to continue that career. You're just looking to enhance your knowledge, or are you looking to actually go on further and continue your studies, maybe onto a master's? So again, same thing, into polls, and you'll have pursue your career or continue your studies. Okay, and we had 10 votes in there. So 7 people looking to pursue the career. So get straight into work again, as I said, whether it's continue a career you're already in, or whether to get your degree and go straight into a working environment. And then we have 4 who are looking to continue their studies, so who want to further their studies and go on further and maybe do a master's or a PME, or even onto PhD level as well, maybe. So that's fantastic. Okay, thank you all for that. So as I said, what we're going to do is run through the courses that you guys are hopefully interested in, try and give you a little bit of a flavor and a little bit of an understanding of exactly what we do within Portobello Institute, the type of modules that you would be likely to sit and actually attend during your 3 years, hopefully with Portobello. So the first one on our list here is the Bachelor of Science Honours in Sports Therapy. So again, this has always been one of probably the kind of most in-demand course within Portobello Institute. There's always been a lot of sports therapists or potential sports therapists coming in and registering with this course. So within year 1, we have a nice kind of mix. Year 1 kind of gets you a bit of a flavor of what's ahead. It will introduce you to the program of study itself and generally provide you with some of the essential skills that will aid you your study as you go through the course. So as you progress into 2nd year and 3rd year, 1st year within all the courses really sets you that solid foundation to go forward. So for the sports therapy course, obviously sports therapy will make up a big part of it. So you'll start getting a foundation to sports therapy. You'll actually start to learn a bit about anatomy, biomechanics, get to know the human body. You'll get to do a little bit of physiology and training principles. So we might look into areas such as high intensity training, how it works. We look a little bit into nutrition as our biomechanics aspect of it. So how the human body moves, how it maneuvers, how to get the most from the human body, all these type of areas. And then there'll be that focus then on the sports therapy aspect of it as well, where you'll start to actually do some physical hands-on practice right at that early stage. Start to get to know the different muscles in the body, how to interact with different massage treatments, how to learn to identify injuries, recommend treatments, and so on. So all that very kind of foundation, solid foundation to get you through the 3 years. When you year 3, it really starts to get very specialized then. It starts to become more advanced. So we start looking at exercise physiology. We start looking into areas such as rehabilitation, how to carry out detailed examinations and assessments within sports therapy. So a client comes to you with a niggling injury, you get to really start to learn how to hone in on that identification process. We'll be looking at some of the different types of therapies that you can do within sports therapy itself, some of the different areas that you can maybe branch out into or specialize in. But then you'll also start to look a little bit at the areas such as psychological factors within sport. So as a sports therapist, sometimes clients coming to you can almost sometimes, be looking for some mental treatment as well, even though it's not exactly what you're qualified in. You're there to heal the body. It actually stands really well to any sports therapist to have an understanding of the psychological demands within sports and some of the psychological issues that sports people might go through. So you'll have a look at on that area within a sporting environment, within teams, and then also individual psychological factors as well. So just trying to round off your kind of knowledge, give you guys a little bit more of a holistic understanding of the athletes themselves. And then there'll be a bit of focus in regards to your research methods as well. So we start looking at final year dissertation at this stage, start getting you ready for it, get you prepared, start getting you ideas on what you'd actually like to do with your final year dissertation. Then when we move into year 3, again, we're progressing further. We're now going into advanced sports therapy techniques. We are bringing in work placement roles as well. So there will be potential or requirement for you guys to go out and actually start getting hands-on physical work placement and getting practice out there in the field with a qualified sports therapist working within their clinics, or we have an in-house clinic as well, which can be used by students, which I'll talk about a little bit, I think, on the next slide too. There'll also be a business development module in there. A lot of you guys are hopefully going to be going out and setting up your own business. So we want you to be able to leave Portobello Institute with a good understanding on how you go about doing that. So putting business development practices into place, understanding the role of a business owner, a potential sole trader, how you go about marketing yourself. So all that's vital information to have when you go out into kind of the big bad world and set yourself up as a sports therapist. And then obviously there'll be your final year dissertation as well. So we'll, as I said, we'll have started in that within second year, advancing it much further in third year, carrying out your research, writing up your dissertation, submitting it, and then hopefully getting your qualification that allows you to go out and become a sports therapist. So included within the sports therapy degree, so there's 230 hours of supervised experience. So as I said, that's where you go out, you work with another clinician or therapist in their premises, you travel with them, or you go to their place of business, work with them, treat some people, get that hands-on experience. I said there's also the student clinic that's run in-house within Portobello. So you can invite, it can be a group of your fellow students, can invite family members, friends, club mates, strangers off the street to come to the clinic. It's usually run after hours, and you can get your hands-on practice there under the supervision of your tutor, who's your sports therapist tutor at the time. So if you can't get the placement within another business, there's the in-house in the clinic that's run within Portobello. And then you get your accreditation through the Society of Sports Therapists. So it's a fantastic course for anybody to do who is looking to move into that world of sports therapy. Again, don't forget, if you have any questions about anything I've gone through within this, please just type in and myself or Joe will get back to you and answer as best as we can. For those of you then who have completed the sports therapy degree and you're looking to maybe go on and become a physiotherapist, so you want to work maybe in a medical setting, the route to do that after you finish, so you can undertake a master's in one of the following Irish or UK colleges. So you can go to Cork, where it's a 2-year add-on to get your master's within physiotherapy. You can go to the Royal College of Surgeons, which is based here in Dublin. That's a 3-year qualification there. Or you can go to the University of Limerick, where it's 2 years, and you also do the GAMSAT test as well. And then on top of that, you also have the opportunity to go to the UK and study a master's over there. And depending on the college that you choose in the UK, it's somewhere between 15 to 18 months to get that qualification in physiotherapy. Okay, moving on to the sports science and performance analysis. So this is a new course which Portobello began running in the last couple of years. And again, it's proving quite popular because within sport, this area of performance analysis analytics is becoming hugely popular. Every elite level club in the world of sport or elite level athletes are all trying to invest in this performance analysis. They're all trying to get that additional 1% of improvement within their performance, every day, every week, every month, every year. And performance analysis somewhere where that can really be done. So it's a very high demand for qualified performance analysis. So again, similar to the sports therapy, and what you'll have with the sports therapy, performance analysis, and the psychology coaching in year one, you will all share those kind of core modules. So you'll see here we have human anatomy and biomechanics, human physiology and training principles, and sport research skills. So they'll be similar between the three courses. So you'll be together with all your the students from these other courses at that time. But for you guys with performance analysis, you'll have a little bit more of a change in one of the modules where it won't be the sports therapy you'll be looking at. For year one, you'll be looking at sports psychology and coaching. So that's where your areas of expertise or speciality starts to come in. When we move then into year two, again, it becomes more specific directly to the world of performance analysis. So we start looking at how to actually analyze for team and individual sports, so the different types of analysis that's done. So are we working as an analyst for a soccer club, or are we working as an analyst for maybe a short distance sprinter? Is that the area that we're going to work? And so how we actually go about the different types of analysis, what exactly it is we're watching for, what's the requirements of our clients, all these type of things. So that's where we start to get a little bit more specialized. You'll start looking at obviously sports and exercise physiology, hugely important. You need to know the physiology of the human body to be able to carry out analysis, to try and maybe perfect and refine a certain person's movement. Again, if we're on that kind of short distance sprinter, we need to know the biomechanics. We need to know the movement principles of the human body. So if we need to make little changes, we identify little faults with maybe flexion in the knee or arm position, head position, all these type of things. So it's hugely important between that sport and exercise physiology and the biomechanics of human movement module that we start to learn that type of expertise and that type of top level knowledge. We have modules then on, again, psychological factors, because it's important. Psychology aspect of it is hugely important through all environments of sports in the modern day. We have our applied principles of strength and conditioning. Again, getting to know how we get the most and get the best from the human body. So how to appropriately train. And then again, similar to our therapy module, we'll have the sports science and research methods within year two. So getting us ready to actually be able to carry out our dissertation, our final year dissertation. When we move into year three, we start looking at advanced analysis for sports performance. So you can see how year on year we start becoming, moving up the levels, becoming very much more specific, moving into that more advanced level within each of these degrees. So we then look at sports psychology and the elite athlete. So again, a good psychology focus within this module as well. And we start looking at sports performance analysis, work placement. So again, you guys go out and try and get practical hands-on experience within the world of sports analysis. And then we're moving into our advanced biomechanics. Again, human movement, how the body works. We're starting to step that up. So as you guys, when you leave with your degree in hand, you have that solid platform, that solid understanding to go out and do both yourselves credit when you get your job in this performance analysis career, and also to kind of sell how good Portobello is and how well-rounded our students are, how well qualified they are when they leave the college itself. So within performance analysis, so as I said, it's becoming hugely popular. It's an area that everywhere, all elite athletes, elite sports are looking to try and focus into this area. Even clubs at an amateur level who are on that maybe high end of amateur are investing within sports analysis, performance analysis, analytics, all this type of information. So it is really in demand for anybody who's looking to do that course. There are a growing number of jobs available in the area. So it's all to do with technology. Technology has kind of completely changed the landscape of sports science. It's no more just what the eye sees within a split second. Everything is recorded, it's analyzed, it's broken down into minute segments. And we see some of it within the likes of, Sky Sports. If we're watching rugby, if we're watching soccer, we see how they break down every little kind of interchange, every important aspect of a game, important moment within the game, and they really analyze it into detail. Same with performance analysis in that world. We do it within performance, within the games we play, within the competitions we enter, but also within training sessions. It's all looked at over and over. And again, it's all about getting that additional 1% performance from our athletes. So a lot of sports science degrees that are out there at the moment, they don't actually equip students with the knowledge and with the information that they need to go out and work within the world of sport performance analysis and with these sports tech companies. So that's why Portobello have begun running this degree program. We're one of the first in the country to do it. And again, it's a really growing area and growing demand from students to take part within this study. And then within Ireland itself, Ireland is actually leading the way within sports technology. We have a huge amount of technology companies based here in Ireland, which started here in Ireland. We have companies such as Avener, which are video analysis based out of Galway. There's Performa Sports, who run from Belfast. There's Kitman Labs, who are Dublin based, and they all have their various different areas within performance analysis that they focus on. So as I said, a hugely popular area of study at the moment. Looking down at our sports psychology, coaching and PE program. So this one's a little bit more rounded. This one is not as specific as the other therapy and performance analysis. This is maybe for some of the students who know that they want to work in the world of sports going forward, but maybe they're not 100% sure exactly what area it is they want to do. So this degree course gives a really rounded and balanced education in these kind of three key areas. So psychology, coaching and PE. And from this degree course, you can actually go on and further your education with a master's in a number of different avenues. So for this one, year one, as I said, similar to the therapy and performance analysis, you'll share the modules with your fellow students who are all starting off on those other degrees in year one. This psychology one obviously has the foundations for sports psychology and coaching within year one. So it's a bit more specifics within psychology on this module or this degree, but it is that more rounded education, which gives you options going forward then when you leave. So we look at, in year two, psychological factors in sporting teams and individuals. So again, as I said, looking at some of the differences between athletes within a team environment and athletes who are in an individualistic environment. So what different challenges do they have psychologically when it comes to maintaining performance, motivation, relationships with coaches, fellow teammates, and so on. Different challenges that are posed depending on the type of sports person. And if you are looking to go and work in the world of sports psychology, which is the area where I come from myself, it's something that you really need to know. You need to know the different approaches, the different demands, the different struggles between a team-based athlete and an individual athlete, like a runner, a martial artist, whatever it might be, compared to a rugby player or a soccer player or a hockey player. We look then at the principles of effective coaching and teaching. So it's the emphasis on being a coach or a teacher. So how do we actually get the most from the people within our team? Or how do we deliver a really good PE-based program? So you're starting to learn some of the principles of that. So what makes a good coach or a good PE teacher? What do the people within your team or your class require in order to engage and develop within your sessions? So we start looking at all those different areas, proper coaching styles, attitudes, relationships, all this type of things, how we deal with motivation, keep our people motivated, keep them entertained, keep them enthusiastic, and have them as part of the actual program itself as well. Then we have the emphasis on physiology. Again, it's very important that you know the human body. So we have the physiology and the biomechanics aspects there. We need to know how people develop within sports, how they physically develop. We look at some of how they learn skills and how to develop actual skills, the learning process. Then it goes on, we'll have a look at some contemporary issues within sport. So what are some of the kind of societal issues that are going on? What are maybe in relation to gender, race, ethnicity, disability. So what are the challenges and the barriers posed depending on somebody's gender, race, or ethnicity, and so on. maybe down into socioeconomic factors. A really, really good module, which kind of focuses on a sociological aspect with sport, and then not just sport, but physical activity itself. So some of the issues with the very low rates of engagement within physical activity that we have with young kids these days, and the kind of competition sport and physical activity has in relation to kids who want to maybe just play computer games and so on. So how do we approach that challenge? How can we get people really re-engaged with wanting to take part in physical activity and really understanding the lifelong benefits of physical activity and a good physical education as well? And then year 3, again, it starts becoming more advanced, a lot more refined. We start getting a good level. So we'll have a look at our dissertation, obviously, will be going on again. We start looking at the psychology of elite athletes. So what's the difference? What are the different demands for an elite athlete than there are for maybe a novice or amateur level athlete? We start looking at advanced coaching theory and practice. So again, building upon what we looked at in year 2 on our principles of effective coaching and teaching. Again, advanced biomechanics. So again, delving deeper down into the human body, how it works, how it develops, how we keep it at its optimal level, and how we get it to its optimal level for the required times. And then we look at some business development as well. So again, some of you guys might be going out and setting up your own psychology company. You might be out working for yourself as a coach. You could be going into a school as a PE teacher. So you might need some of those business development skills as well. And then there's an area for work placement within year 3, also similar to the previous degree courses that we discussed. Okay, so for anybody who might be looking to become a sports psychologist, again, like performance analysis, it's a significantly and vastly growing market. There is a demand out there from top level athletes, clubs, organizations to have sports psychologists come in and work with either themselves, an athlete, or work with the players within their team. So this course is actually the only undergraduate course available in Ireland, in the Republic of Ireland, that focuses specifically on sports psychology. So it provides that kind of foundational education for those looking to pursue other careers, maybe move on to within sports science itself, so going on into physiology, coaching or teaching, as I said already. It equips students to work with athletes as well as in the general population for health specialisms. So one thing to remember about sports psychologists, it's not only just about working with athletes or elite level athletes. There is a demand there for sport and exercise psychologists. So people for medical reasons who need to increase their physical activity levels, but maybe aren't able to do it. Sports and exercise psychologists will work within that area as well. You can then, after you get your degree with Portobello Institute, you can actually go on and do a 1-year conversion course to get a recognized qualification in psychology. You also have the option of going on and doing a master's within sports psychology as well. For myself, I actually studied this course with Portobello Institute a number of years ago. So I came through this program and then I went and completed my master's in sports and exercise psychology in Ulster University up in Belfast, which was a fantastic route for me. So I now work as a lecturer within Portobello Institute, and I also run my own business as a sports psychologist. So you have that option of continuing a master's within Ireland, or you can go to the UK or up to Northern Ireland and carry out your master's there within sports psychology. You'll get accreditation by the British Psychology Society and also the Psychology Society of Ireland. And for anybody who is looking to work within the UK, so there is an organisation called BASES, which stands for the British Association of Sport and Exercise Sciences. And in order to work in the UK as a sports psychologist, you need to be part of the BASES organisation. And by carrying out your master's qualification in somewhere like Northern Ireland or the UK, you actually automatically get that qualification. And then that moves us on to our degree in physical education. For those are looking to maybe become or want to become physical education teachers, this is a fantastic place to start off. So again, 3-year course, but very, very, very specific toward physical education. So it is, again, 3 years, as we've said, similar to some of the other courses that I've went through, but just very, very specific towards physical education itself. So there's a lot of emphasis on that aspect. So you can see from the modules that we have here, personal and professional development. So getting to know a bit about yourself, what is required from you as a professional, learning different skills. We have an aspect on psychology. Again, we look on some contemporary issues again. So what would be some of the issues within physical education? So it might be the level of knowledge within physical education teachers, specifically to the world of kind of sports science. Quite often over the last few decades, PE teachers were kind of just people who volunteered to take PE. They might have been a history teacher, a science teacher, an Irish teacher, a geography teacher, and they took PE as well. They had an interest in sports and they took all the kids out to play football or rugby or hurling or whatever it might be. But there's a huge demand now with the evolution of physical education as an examinable subject now through junior cert and the potential to take it as a leaving cert subject. There's a huge demand now for the PE teachers to actually come from a sport and have a real deep knowledge and understanding of the world of sports science, as opposed to just the world of sport itself and playing games. So again, you get to know a little bit about physiology. You get to learn a little bit about skill acquisition. So how do we actually learn and develop our skills? So it's a look at how the brain works, how it actually absorbs new information, how it understands it, how it makes decisions, and actually executes new movements, refines movement patterns, and then actually, will save that movement pattern, store it in the brain, in the long-term memory to recall it when we need it. So very, very kind of interesting area within skill acquisition itself. Again, year 2 and year 3, as I've said with the other courses, we're just constantly developing, progressing, becoming more specialized, more in-depth within the information that you're learning itself. So year 2, we're looking again, physical education. For teacher education, we start to expand on skill acquisition a little bit more, and then you move into your dissertation, advanced pedagogy, our research project, contemporary issues again. So again, a really well-rounded degree course for anybody who has an interest in becoming a physical education teacher. So the qualification for this BA in physical education actually comes from Liverpool John Moores University, a really well-recognized kind of prestigious university over in the UK. Portobello acts almost like a kind of a satellite college for Liverpool John Moores in regards to running this course over here in Ireland. With the previous 3 degrees that I went through, the qualification for them actually comes from London Metropolitan University. So again, similar thing, your qualifications are really, really highly recognized around the world. There is some concern that often comes up is in regards to Brexit. If these qualifications are coming for the UK, does it have any impact? Absolutely not. And in the world of education, your education qualifications will travel with you all around the world. Something like Brexit would have no impact in it whatsoever. So there are 2 very prestigious, well-recognized courses or universities within the UK, and we're lucky enough here over in Portobello to have been chosen to actually run these for them. So there's a lot of support comes from both universities, and it's a fantastic opportunity for you guys to actually gain really strong qualifications. When you get your qualification from the PE degree course, so you've got a level 8 degree that includes 50% physical education content. So as I said, hugely specialist, 50% specifically in relation to physical education, which is fantastic. There's practical hours get carried out within year 2 and 3 as well. I said almost like your work experience, there'll be some practical hours there within teaching. So we might go and observe teaching within a school setting, hopefully get some hands-on experience of delivering teaching as well. We have the potential within Portobello University to connect you up with some schools who will allow our students to go and work within the PE department, or you can go and source your own placement as well. The options then when you finish, so you can go on and do a postgrad in the UK for 1 year, which will qualify you to go and work within the education setting here in Ireland. Staying in Ireland, the route is to go on and do the professional Masters of Education, so the PME in University of Limerick, which is a 2-year course. And you get registration with the Teaching Council as well out of that. Okay, so this one is for any of maybe our more mature students or people who already have a degree or maybe already working as teachers. So we just want to check, is there anybody here who's maybe already working as a teacher, is looking to get a qualification specifically in physical education teaching? Or is there anybody who maybe has a degree from a sports background already and is looking to move into PE teaching? No. Okay, well, this one I will quickly run through it. So this one is for, and we have a lot of teachers, actually qualified teachers who are working as teachers, come to Portobello to actually sit this course, where they want to transition from being the history teacher or maths teacher, and they now want to become a PE teacher, but they don't have the specific qualifications that are needed for that. And they want to actually be accepted into University of Limerick to do their professional masters in physical education. So Portobello run what's known as like a bridging course for those people. They can come to Portobello and get a very specific qualification in higher education for PE with that sports focus, and it allows them then to get the qualifications that are required to go to the University of Limerick. So this is not something that can be sat by anybody who has no previous degree or who's maybe just coming through their leaving cert. This is very specifically for people who are already have a degree under their belt and are just looking to make a slight change in their career. And then there's an option for the masters. There's masters courses which Portobello have actually started running now as well. So we have 2 masters courses going at the moment. So this is for when you finish your degree, you have the potential to go on and further your study with Portobello University. So we have the MSc in Sports Performance Analysis. So building directly on from that degree that we've covered, you can now carry out a Masters of Sports Performance Analysis with Portobello. So this Masters would provide a student with an in-depth and relevant focus on the applied and academic sports performance analysis skills that are generally needed for the role as sports performance analyst in elite professional sports environments. So again, that's for anybody who wants to get that further level of education specifically within performance analysis. And then we also have the Masters in Clinical Exercise Prescription. So this Masters will provide people with an in-depth and relevant focus on the applied and academical clinical exercise prescription for working in allied healthcare. So this is for anybody who wants to go down the health route, maybe after their sports therapy side of things. So they have an opportunity of doing this Masters with clinical expertise prescription. So 2 kind of further advancements, 2 additional courses under the belt of Portobello for students to actually be able to go and sit. So with that, that's the courses that we cover. Before I actually go on to introducing you to some of the key people within the tutoring team, again, I just want to give people an opportunity to ask any questions that they might have popped up. Okay, so Christopher, I see there, is asking the difference with the 1 year in the UK as regards to 2 years in UL. It's basically just a difference in regards to how the qualification is received, not the qualification from Portobello, but the actual route of getting a qualification as a teacher within the UK. It's just that 1 year requirement. So from you get your degree with Portobello, it's a 1 year. Within Ireland, it's been decided that's a 2 year course. Wherever you go, if you took the UK route or the Irish route, there is no difference at the end of the day in regards to the level of qualification that you have. You can go to the UK for 1 year, come back to Ireland, and there's no school would say, oh, you're not qualified because you've only done 1 year in the UK. it's the exact same level of qualification. It's just because it's two different countries running it, basically. And that's how they've decided the qualification route goes. So thanks for that, Christopher. Appreciate it. Anybody else have any questions? No? Okay. If you do, we'll come back to them anyway. So don't worry if you don't have your question prepared just yet. So just to get you guys to meet some of the tutoring team. So I said you've already kind of somewhat met myself. I'll give you a very kind of brief introduction to who I am, but I'll give you a run through some of the key team within the sports department in Portobello Institute. So the head of the sports department is Dr. Susan Giblin. So Susan has been with Portobello for a number of years now. She's responsible for designing, running, maintaining the courses, the modules that we deliver. So she's kind of the head honcho of it all. That everything that's being delivered is being delivered to a fantastic level, that everything is kept up to date, that the students are getting the exact information that they require to actually go out and work to get the best type of, relationships with the lecturers. Everybody's trying to work, help you guys get through the program as best as possible. Susan's the one at the top who's making sure that that's all happening. So Susan actually comes from initially a psychology background. She was within the world of clinical psychology on biomechanical and psychomotor assessment. But Susan also then moved into the world of technology and was a founding member of Kitman Labs, who are huge in the performance analysis world. Kitman Labs are an Irish-based company who are now global. They work with some of the biggest clubs in the world in regards to athlete and player welfare. They look after everything from, monitoring nutrition, monitoring sleep patterns, monitoring fatigue, how hard a person is trained, their mood states. Kitman Labs look at all that area within performance analysis. Susan was one of the founding members of that company. She is very well published in the world of scientific research. She has a large number of papers which have been published, so she has a fantastic level of education and knowledge, and she is a perfect person for running the sports degrees and sports programs within Portobello Institute. So as I said, she's published in the area of biomechanical lab validation and ecological technology solution for remote tracking and analysis. So some difficult words to say there, all in such a short sentence. So again, she's a huge wealth of experience within the psychology area, performance analysis area as well. Moving on then to Barry Rowe. So Barry is one of the lead lecturers within Portobello Institute. He's a former Munster strength and conditioning and nutrition advisor. He has a master's in sports sports performance from the University of Limerick. Barry was similar to myself, a mature student who moved into the world of sports education in his 30s. I was 36 when I gave up a job in finance, decided to finally follow my passion, which was to work in the world of sports. And I was able to do that through my degree with Portobello Institute. Barry done similar. It was working in the world of insurance, I believe. Had been working within sports as well at the same time, but wanted to go full time within the world of sports. So as a mature student, got his qualifications. He has a number of qualifications across a variety of different areas within sports. So he's a REPS registered personal trainer. And then he has great hands-on experience within the world of rugby. So there he's worked with Munster Rugby's interprovincial age grade players. So some of the modules that Barry teaches, so applied principles in teaching and adventure activities, principles of effective coaching, business development, and then work placement as well. We then have Anthony Sheriff. Been with Portobello just a couple of years now, has settled in really well, really great parts of the team. Anthony's expertise comes from the world of psychology, but also primary education with a specialism in physical education. Anthony actually got his qualification through Liverpool John Moores University, and he's a number of years experience working in the UK as a PE teacher, but also in Dubai for a couple of years as a PE teacher as well. So for Anthony, he'll teach some of the psychology modules, the applied pedagogy, and the skills acquisition aspect as well. We then have Emma. So again, Emma is one of our lead lecturers, has been with Portobello for, I believe, about 8 years, I think now at this stage. So Emma has expert level of knowledge in the world of research. She's currently actually undertaking a PhD at the moment at Brunel University, and her areas of specialism within that PhD and study is focuses on decision making and cognitive skills assessment for intermittent pitch-based sport. So a really interesting area of study, which Emma has been pursuing for a number of years now while undertaking that PhD, and some fantastic information that she has from it. So Emma promotes research and development within the sports department. So Emma's kind of key modules will be the sports science research skills, looking after your dissertation. She'll be heavily involved in those aspects from first year through to third year, getting you all the information and knowledge you require to become good researchers and to be able to complete that dissertation to a top-notch level. Emma also has a qualification in psychology. So sports psychology and teams and individuals is one of the modules she looks after, and also the contemporary issues within sport as well. We then have Cathal Brady. So Cathal looks after his areas of expertise within the therapy aspect. So he will look after a lot of the therapy modules. He has a degree in physical therapy and several other qualifications within that field as well, to do with massage and sports therapy. Cathal is actually a ex-League of Ireland footballer, and he's now qualified coach. And as it says there, he played soccer to national level. So Cathal actually runs his own private practice in sports therapy, and he works with a number of university and club teams around the country as well. Cathal has a wealth of knowledge and information and a vast array of contacts around the country as well when it comes to people he's worked with in regards to those universities and clubs. For Cathal's modules, as I said, very heavily focused in the therapy aspect. So he looks after human anatomy and biomechanics, the sports rehabilitation, the clinical examination and assessment in sports therapy, and is involved in the work placement side of things as well. And then we have Colm Murphy. So Colm, again, his expertise comes from a sports and exercise psychology background. He got his qualifications, master's from Waterford Institute of Technology. Colm also has a postgrad certificate in third level teaching and learning, and also studied over in Liverpool John Moores University, and has that experience working as both a PE teacher in England and Dubai as well. So very similar to Anthony in that regard. Colm with Tennis Ireland as a development coach, and he also works as a sports psychologist with Basketball Ireland, giving support and mental skills training with the national squad. So again, a very varied kind of experience and level of knowledge from Colm as well. So Colm will focus on the psychological factors in sport, contemporary issues in sport, and then sports science research methods as well. So they are kind of the key lead lectures within Portobello. Some of the other lecturers that you can meet, myself, Al Whelan, we have Tom Dawson, Ciara Mulrooney, Shannon Byrne, Adam Sullivan, Dr. Liam Clohessy, who's new with us this year and is responsible for running the PE degree course through Liverpool John Moores University. An amazing level of talent and knowledge comes from Dr. Liam Clohessy, so somebody who Portobello are absolutely delighted to have as part of their working staff. And then last but not least, Gordon Sterling. So you can find out more about myself and each of those additional lectures through the Portobello Institute website. We can go into the sports department and meet the team, and you can just kind of see the wide variety and really high level of knowledge and experience that are within the team within Portobello Institute if you choose to actually come and study here. So that's the end of the presentation and a little introduction to the sports department within Portobello Institute. Again, I'd just like to give you guys the opportunity to ask any more questions. If you've thought of anything along the way, again, you can type your questions in. You can feel free to turn on your microphone and have a little chat. I'll be here for the next few moments, as long as it takes. see what information we can give you guys. I can see a question there from Cormac. Does the higher education PE top up for non-sports graduates course match the teaching council requirements for PE? So I'll ask that part first. Yes, absolutely it does. So you might have seen from that slide, there were two similar higher cert qualifications, one for sports graduates and one for non-sports graduates. The difference between the two is the one for non-sports graduates has a greater focus on the biomechanical and anatomy aspects of it. They meet the teaching council requirements in order to get you further progressed. If you were looking to go to University of Limerick to do the professional masters in education, we've had a number of students who've already progressed through both the non-sport graduates and sport graduates certification who have been accepted into the University of Limerick and have gone on and got their PME qualification and are working as PE teachers. So there's no worry in that regard. And then also, is the UK and Irish module credit awarding system the same? Yes, so the qualifications absolutely translate across. One of the advantages that you actually have from getting the kind of UK based qualification is it easier transfers back to Ireland than getting an Irish based qualification transfers to the UK if you were looking to move over to the UK. I know that was my case within psychology, that my sports psychology qualification automatically qualified, because I'd done it through Belfast, University of Ulster, it automatically qualified by the British Psychology Society and was easily transferred to the Psychology Society of Ireland, where if you've done a qualification just solely within Ireland, it's a little bit more difficult to get that recognition with the British Psychology Society. So there is a slight advantage in that way from where the qualifications come from. So thanks for both of those questions, Cormac. Does anybody else have any questions that they'd like to ask? Joe, is there anything that you'd like to add that maybe I probably didn't go through fully, or maybe anything that I've said wrong that you'd like to correct me on?
No, you're spot on, Alan. No, you're brilliant. That was great. What I would say to anyone who does want to kind of go to the next steps, what the next steps are is what you would do is then book an interview with myself. So it's a telephone interview at the moment, and I can share the link with you on the chat. And if you have any questions or you want that link after tonight, just email me anytime and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions and send on the link as well. And what we'd be looking then for is what you'd be using as part of your entry requirements. So depending if you are a leaving certificate student of the last few years, or if you're, waiting until, obviously, if you're a current leaving cert student, and you may not get your results until probably summer 2022, then you can have then a provisional place then, and I can explain that as well. Depending on if you've then already got your leaving certificate, maybe you're 2021, you've just got your results maybe in August there, or you've had it in the last kind of 2-3 years, you can then use your leaving certificate as part of your entry requirements, alongside then the interview that you would do with myself. And then we would just make sure that we're putting you on the right course. You would tell me a little bit about yourself, your background, what you're interested in sport. And then we can make sure that out of all of our sports degrees, which one would suit you best and what you want to do after the course with us. That's the key thing at Portobello, is we want to make sure that we are setting you up correctly for the career that you want to go into, and especially if it is for further study. If it's going on to your physiotherapy masters, the sports therapy option is the best one for you. Again, if it's then PE teaching, then it would be the BA in PE that we would be advising. And then if you are a mature learner over the age of 21, then we can either use different qualifications that you may have done since leaving school. So we do have a lot of students that come on to us after they've possibly done a personal training qualification or gym instructor qualification, which includes the key anatomy and physiology that we'd be looking for. So what we look for is biology or anatomy and physiology in any of our students, just to make sure that you've kind of covered enough to kind of set you up for your year one. That will go into more detail in those areas. So that's what we look for as part of the entry requirements. For mature learners, we'd also ask for a CV as well, just to see what you've kind of done since you've left school. It's really, really important just for us to see what you've done, and yeah, how we can advise you on what best course would suit you best. But yeah, so next what I'll do is I'll share the interview link in the chat, and then any questions, or if you want to send on your transcripts from any of the qualifications that you have completed, then you can send them then directly to my email address, and that will then kickstart the application process, and I'll advise you from there. Okay.
There's 2 questions just came in there, Joe, that maybe you might be able to answer. One from Declan about the next intake.
So yes, Declan, yeah, that's perfect. So we currently have the courses up for blended in February 2022, and then our next full-time will then be in October 2022, and then also provisionally we would also have a blended intake in October 2022 as well. We won't have that online typically until the February has started and has commenced. So typically we won't have that next October blended online until kind of February 2022 time. So yeah, that will typically be when the next blended intake is. But if you're interested in the full time, it is online and available to kind of progress with the application process. So yeah, currently for all 4 of our courses, it would be the next intake is February 2022. And then for the full-time versions that we have for PE and sports therapy, that would be then October 2022.
And then Christopher's question just there in regards to the 1-year masters in the UK can be done through blended learning. As far as I'm aware, no, Christopher, it can't, because there's a lot of practical sessions within that. So there's a huge amount of kind of face-to-face in PE hall time where you're actually carrying out PE sessions and so on. Now, I could be wrong. Something may have changed in the last year or 2, but there's no possibility for it as far as I'm aware. Joe, there's a question for you in regards to payment.
Perfect. Yes. So we have 2 payment options. You can either pay for the course in full, or we do have our very popular option of paying the deposit and then going down our installment plan. Typically, the installment plan doesn't start until your course starts, or usually the month after. It just depends. All the details for the specific courses and the months of the payment plan are all on our website, just to see specifically, and the cost breakdown. So yeah, you won't be able to secure your place on the course until payment of at least the deposit is made. So yeah, that secures your place on the course. So until you're able to pay the either the deposit or the payment in full, then you wouldn't be able to confirm your place on the course. Okay.
Well, thanks for those questions, guys.
Yeah,
Sorry,
thank you so much.
Joe.
Yeah, just to confirm, yeah, so basically with that deposit, it allows us to register you with each of those universities that Alan has mentioned before, whether depending on which course that you're interested in, it allows us to then register you with those universities. So hence why that we need that payment of at least the deposit, just to explain why that's needed. And I'm just going to pop in my link to book an interview as well. So that should be in the chat there.
Yeah, perfect.
Thanks, Christopher. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, so does anybody have any other questions that they'd like to ask?
Yeah, so John, great question. A refund. So basically what we would do is I would encourage you to start the application process. And then once you've got your place confirmed on the course, then you would then you could then make payment if you were worried about that element. So you could start the application process with me and get your interview booked in. Basically that link will link to my calendar and show any available slots for interviews. And then you can also then send, in the meantime, you can send on what you'd be using as part of your entry requirements. So whether that be any of the transcripts, whether it be your leaving certificate transcript or a personal training transcript that includes your anatomy and physiology that you would have covered, as well as then a CV, you can start that application process, this evening if you wanted to, and you can get that started as soon as possible. And then I can advise you then in the next steps of making payment.
Yeah. So you would only have to make the payment after you've received acceptance onto the course. There's no requirement to make your deposit before
exactly.
getting that acceptance. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So then I can have the interview with you, and then if we believe that you're a perfect student for the course, and making sure also just that this course will meet the demands that you want it to and get you to the career that you want it to, then we'll kind of take it from there, and then you'll be confirmed, and we'll make our offers at that stage then. And then it allows you just to ask any questions as well. I know that obviously each individual person will have different scenarios and different circumstances, so you'll all have different questions. So making sure that we answer all of those as best we can. Thanks, John.
Okay, we'll give another minute or two to see if anybody comes up with any more questions that they'd like to ask. So, you know, if people still have questions, we can stay here for another 15 or 20 minutes. But we'll give another minute or two to see if any more questions come through. And if not, you know, we'll maybe just close off the session. And I do want to thank you all for attending tonight. I hope you got the level of information that you were hoping to get. I hope the courses with Portobello actually appeal to you, and would love to actually see some of you guys contacting Joe to maybe arrange that interview, and then hopefully actually be delivering some content to you in either February or October next year.
Yeah, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. It was lovely to have you. And I've just put my email address in there one more time, just in case you need it. And yes, we certainly I hope to speak to a lot of you on the phone for your interview, and hopefully registering you on the course.
Gary asked me a question about the PME in UL Blender 2 years. Gary, I actually don't know. If you go onto the UL website, you'll see that information there. So onto University of Limerick PME in physical education, and they'll have all those details of how you can actually do it on their own website. Yeah, you're more than welcome, Martin. Thank you very much. No problem, Declan. You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks, Emma. Thanks for joining.
Thanks, everyone.
Again, I'll just wait another minute or so, just to see if any last second questions do come in. But as I said, if not, thank you all very much for joining. Yeah, Christopher, it's true. It would be great. Definitely, you know, something I'm very passionate about is physical education, and you know, having good teachers in there delivering a fantastic physical education program. I think it's something that's you know, really required in the current day and age. Okay, will we leave it at that, Joe?
Yeah, any final
enough?
questions? Yeah, I think that sounds perfect.
Yeah, and if anybody does come up with a question later on that they didn't get a chance to ask, to Joe has put her email in there, so feel free to email her anytime. Hi, Alan. How was your journey in Portobello, and how did you find the 3 years and the support available? Gary, I'll be honest, and it's not just because I work here now. It was fantastic. You know, I said I had a big fear going back into education at 36 years of age. I had been nearly 10 years in my previous job. And I had a big fear, a big concern going back into education as to how I'd fit in. I was, you know, thinking, would it just be lots of 18-year-olds who are just out of college, and, you know, me being twice their age, how would it work? But I have to say it was brilliant. The different kind of group who go, it's very varied. I actually wasn't the oldest person in the course, which was a huge plus for me, I felt at the time. But we had, there was a couple of people in their 30s, obviously a lot of people straight out of school after doing their leaving cert, some who'd done their leaving cert 1 or 2 years previously, who'd maybe done a different college course for 1 year, didn't like it, dropped out, and then came to Portobello. So it was a real great mix of students within the class. And then the lecturers themselves were fantastic. And I think it's one of the key selling points for Portobello is that the actual face-to-face time that you get with your lecturer, I don't think you get it anywhere else. The communication between lecturers and student is fantastic. The kind of hours of open service from the lecturers. So I know for myself, if I got an email from a student in an hour's time, I'll have that answered pretty much straight away. If not straight away, it'll be answered within the morning. We're very open to taking, arranging phone calls, Zoom calls, Skype calls, whatever it might be, to give that level of support to students that they require. And I think maybe it's something that can be lost in some of the bigger universities and colleges, and something that's definitely a selling point, I think, for Portobello, that there really is a great level of support for students at all stages. And not just from the lecturers, from the back, kind of the backroom staff like Joe as well, and some of the other guys and girls that work there. It really is top notch.
Yeah, we really do pride ourselves on getting back to students very promptly and making sure that you don't have a long wait time until you're hearing back from us. And again, if I don't know the answer, I very much try and find the answer out for you and get back to you as soon as we can. So yeah, Portobello is definitely a place that's just very prompt to get back to you and make sure that you're getting your questions answered.
So challenge with blended versus full-time. Would blended be at a disadvantage? No, there is no difference in relation to the content and material that's delivered between the full-time program and the blended program. They get the exact same content. So I deliver on both the full-time programs and the blended program. And I tell you, the content I deliver to either group is exactly the same. Some of the challenges that I would say with blended learning is that you would have to be motivated to want to do it. It's too easy potentially as a blended learner to not attend a session because it might be online. Whereas if you're a full-time student, you have to go in to college a couple of times a week, attend your classes. There's maybe just a little bit of a challenge in that. I know for myself and the type of person I used to be, I decided to do the full-time course because I knew about myself that I wouldn't be maybe as motivated for a blended learning. It's too easy to kind of shirk the responsibility, and I wanted to have that commitment of going into college. But if you're somebody who can motivate themselves that way, and it's something that you really want to do, you have the desire and motivation to do it, there's no reason not to do a blended. The advantage of the blended is it allows you maybe to continue to work full-time. If that's, if you're that little bit mature student, that you can't give up a job to go into, Tuesday mornings, Thursday mornings within lectures, the blended learning gives you that opportunity where it'll be weekend sessions. So you can continue to do your job Monday to Friday, and then you have your weekend sessions a couple of times a month with Portobello. Okay, folks, that's it. So again, thank you very much for those who attended. Really appreciate it. And like I said, hopefully we will see you again some stage across the doors of Portobello Institute. Thank you.
Thanks everyone. Thanks, Alan.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.